Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome. And a belated happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there. How's everyone doing today? Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know why I decided to do a live stream today? Well, first of all, my wife's not going to be here for the live stream. She's going to be out of the house. But also, I woke up this morning to about a good 1.5 to 2 inches of snow. And it just stopped snowing about 5 minutes ago. So incredible the weather that we're getting this year. How you doing, Oki Can? Copernicus, how you doing? Michelle? Suzanne, how you doing? Tammy, JT is in the house. Orange Ruff. Yarn Prepper, hello. Lady Samantha, how you doing? Let's see, filled up from half tank yesterday. Mid-grade, $62. Well, I'm not sure how many of you are subscribed to Frontier Preppers, Billy and D, but he did a short video this morning on that the price of water went up here in Alaska. So for those of you that may not know, we have to haul our own water. Not everyone does, but people that live outside the city limits usually have to haul their own water if they don't have a well. And I fall into that category. And he was saying in that video that the price of water went up. And I'm like, really? And I had to go get some water today. So I'm like, well, I'll find out what it is exactly when I go to get some water, because you couldn't see it on his video exactly what it had gone up by. And after I did the calculations, it went up by 19.4%. So our water here, for those of us that haul water, the price has gone up by 19.4%, which it may not sound like a lot on nominal terms. It's really, my fill went up by about $1 per fill. So for every 200 gallons that I used to pump out of there, it used to cost me about $6. Yes, $6. Now it costs $7, which, like I said, doesn't sound like an awful lot, but it's really 19%. So everything is going up, ladies and gentlemen. Everything is. How you doing, Christian? Thomas from Austria, how you doing? Evo Girl? Kathy, how you doing? Can you tell me the cost of silver? Can you tell me why the cost of silver is going down while the market is? Oh, man, that's a great question. And you know what? First of all, can you all give me a number one if I'm coming in okay? Because we do have an overcast. But to have a little bit of fun, we'll take a look at the markets today. After I talk about what I wanted to talk about today, we'll take a look at the markets. Let me see if opening it up, let me see what that does to our connection if I open it up, okay? So you all let me know whether my connection is better or worse or the same, because I just opened up that page, so it's running in the background, meaning that it's using up bandwidth. So let me all know how I'm coming in. How you doing, Sharon? ID Prepping, Aaron L. Jan, how you doing, Jan? Good to see you. Victoria Anderson, hello. And let me see who asked this question. Can I go like this? I just starred you. Oh, cool. It lets me start the question. So I just starred you, Kathy, so I don't forget the question, okay? Because that's a great question. Aaron, how you doing? Victoria, Nancy Tharp. Billy Bob is in the house. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. I'm guessing that you're back home for a little bit. How you doing, Terry? Me too. Hello, and yes, hello to our moderators. Thank you, ladies, for being here. Daryl, Zim00. I'm getting ones from Miss Worm from Copernicus, okay? Nat Adorable 100. Hubby doesn't think anything will happen. Any advice? He is still supportive, but I would like to be more of a group effort. Not adorable. Just keep doing what you have to do, okay? It takes different people, different times to become fully awake. So just keep doing what you're doing, and thank goodness that he is supportive of what you're doing. Thank goodness for you and your family. All right, but just keep doing what you're doing, and eventually he will wake up to the fact that being prepared is just another form of insurance that's going to allow you to get through hard times. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that may be new here, I'm not a doomsday prepper. I'm not a person that thinks that the world is going to come to an end. I'm just a person that likes to take a look at history, and we're going to go over a little bit of history today. All right. And we're going to take a look at some of the similarities of what happened during the Holodomor. I think that's how you pronounce it, Holodomor, which was the famine in Ukraine that was caused by man. All right. It was not a natural thing. It was the actions of a certain group of people that caused millions of people to die, and mostly by starvation. All right, so we're going to go over that today, and hopefully someone here will get something out of it. Okay. So anyways, I don't prep for the end of the world, ladies and gentlemen. Why would I? Why would anyone prepare for the end of the world? I'd be partying it up if I knew that the end of the world was tomorrow or a week from now. So Ricky, how you doing? Penny Willis, Sarita Loves Living, Infrared Survival is here. Chelsea Hutchinson made it. Southern Mimi, how are you? All the way from Arkansas. Janice Brown, hello. Herculang is here. Robin, how you doing? Pelusa, Connie. Casper X, how you doing? All the way from Australia, down under. Knee Deep and Crazy, how you doing? Joe, Texas. Kathleen, hello. Melody Owen, how are you doing? From Birmingham, Alabama. Gypsy Flat. Who's your mom? Oh My ET from Oklahoma, hello. Whispering Pines. Jason. Let's see. Mary Monk, Randy Smith, good old Goody or good old Goldie. Prepper Book Club is here. Rex is in the house. Gas is up 20 cents per gallon in town, huh, Rex? Yep, I believe it. I really didn't take a look at the gas prices today. I don't have to fill up, but I do believe it. Christine, how you doing, Christine from Washington State? Lisa, KB6, hello. Suzanne, how you doing? Candace Cullen is here. How you doing, Candace? Hello, Tonette. Say hello to the hubby for me. Donna from Florida 56 is in the house, and I'm assuming that Donna is chatting in from Florida. Liz Chavez, how you doing, Liz? Leopard Appy Girl. Southern Mimi, Orange Rough, Red Fraggle, All Day, Everyday Preparedness. Jimmy Bass, how you doing, Jimmy? Queen Knee, Southern Ginger, hello. The Maverick Prepper is here. Well, the Maverick Prepper, I would, but the thing is that with the sun or with the light coming in from the outside, it doesn't allow you to see outside. All you see is a bright light. So that's why I put the flag in its place. I unfurled it and put it in its place so that instead of you having like a bright light to look at, you can at least have something to look at back there. So that's why I don't open up that window. I put that window there thinking that it was going to be awesome because you would all be able to see the trees and everything behind me while I was doing a live, but it didn't work out like that. Sal Ami, how you doing? Christian, how you doing? Christian Tannery. Tommy Bites, how you doing? I'm getting ones all over the place, so that is good news. Thank you for that. Yarn Prepper says that she pays $90 every 3 months for water and sewer. How much do I spend on water every month? Not talking about the gasoline that it takes me to get there and back. I would say that it probably costs me about, I want to say maybe a half of a gallon or so to get there and back. However, whenever I get water for the house, it's because I already had to go into town. So I really don't calculate that into the expense of the water because I already had to do something there. So I'm getting water. But let's see. So now we usually go through about 2 loads to 3 loads a week. So let's just say 10 loads per month that we go. So you're looking at $60, $70 a month now it's going to cost just to get water. So it's pretty expensive then when you compare it to the water that you get from a utility. If you're hooked up to a water utility, it's expensive compared to that, but still I have no problem with that because, it's like part of my lifestyle now. It's part of my regular routine to get water. So I don't have any problem getting it. Okay. A lot of ones. Good. How you doing, Robin? Robin Hesita, how you doing? All the way from Guam. Welcome. Welcome. Camille, how you doing? David Jones, how are you? Trump won. Stuff is getting wrecked. Yes, indeed. In the stock market it is. And it looks like we're going to be able to go over the markets later on. So that's awesome. And my little spiel, my little presentation I have for you, ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to take very long. Okay. So I already have everything highlighted that I want to talk about on there. Let's see. David D, good to see you as well. Thank you for joining us. Tinfoil Hat, how you doing? Gina, Mark McKinley, how are you? How you doing, Catherine? Scott Hummer, Gregory. Okay, good. Good. People are saying that I'm coming in all right. Diana, hello, or Diana, hello from Texas. Deanie French, hello. Fran Moyer is here. Mary Jane, how you doing? All the way from Utah. Snark and Substance, how you doing? Good afternoon. Amanda, Ann Otten, Jason in Virginia Reborn, hello, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Hillbilly Prepper is in the house. Boch Prepper made it. How you doing, Boch? Good to see you. Lady Samantha is here as well. Monette, how you doing? Howard Floyd. The Maverick Prepper is here, along with Starlight. Monique Ramirez, how you doing? Welcome. Welcome to our live. Prepper Book Club, yes, indeed. They are behind on orders. Everyone wants this stuff. What can I say? They're behind on orders. So if you're going to order something, expect probably, I would say, at least 2 weeks to 3 weeks. But that's about average nowadays with long-term food storage companies shipping stuff out. Let's see, who else? Half Pint is here. Hawkeye made it. How you doing, Hawkeye? Noodlehead, how you doing? I like the name. Linda Greenwell, how you doing? Snow Leo, how are you? City Man is here. Will Huddleston, Mary, Georgina, Keisha, how are you? Keisha, I've always used 4.5 and 5 mil. I've never ever had a problem with them. I know they have thicker ones like 7 mil, and I think that's what Gray Man uses. He uses 7 mil, which, in my opinion, the thicker, the better. I've stuck with the same ones that I've used over time because I've never had a problem with them, and they've always done a good job. All right. Usually, whenever I find something that works, I try to stick with it. All right. But I would say that the thicker, the better. So if you can have 5 mils, 5 mils has worked for me. I don't see why it wouldn't work for you. But if you can find 7 mils at a reasonable price, by all means, the thicker, the better. Hello, Maida, Kiki, Janice D. How you doing? Kathleen White Antelope. How are you from Idaho? Hello, Lori. How are you? Good to see you. CJ. Okay, let's bring it on down some, okay? What time is it? Okay. We're about 13 minutes in or so. Nancy Drew is here. Monique Ramirez. Alicia. Deanne French from Louisiana says hello. Hello to you. Hillbilly Prepper, I'm really hoping this year, but we'll have to see. Like I said, it's snowing right now. Okay, I mean, it stopped snowing about 5 minutes before I started the live, but we had snow. I would say we probably had about a good 1.5 to 2 inches, at least. It's melting because the temperature is above freezing now. Hey, Single Dad Prepper, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. Good to have you here. Welcome. Ali says gas went up 30 cents a gallon overnight. That is going to be a fact of life henceforth, ladies and gentlemen. The more that a currency gets close to its death, all right, the more volatile that it's going to be, all right. And people may be asking, well, how can that be? The dollar is increasing in price. It's increasing in value, but in value compared to what? Is it increasing in value compared to gasoline, compared to food, compared to rent, compared to all that stuff? No, it's not. It's decreasing in value. It's only increasing in value to other currencies, because there's something that's called the euro dollar. I'm not sure how familiar you are with it, but it's dollars that are actually printed out of thin air outside of the United States. That's actually not printed by our banks, but by banks that are outside of the United States. All right. And the more that countries outside the United States need the dollar in order to trade or whatever it is, because they have to pay back dollar denominated loans, the more strength that it gives the dollar compared to those exterior currencies, to those other nations' currencies that it is compared to. For example, it's compared to the yuan, the yen, the euro, the pound, I believe, I believe also the Australian dollar. Don't quote me on that one. But that's why the dollar looks like it's going up, which is a very bad thing, really, for us. In a way, good, but mostly bad. Yeah, I seen that. Billy Bob. I seen that. Gina, all you have to do is look at me and know that I'm not a very picky person when it comes to eating. My very favorite, if I had to pick one thing, would be sancocho, which is a Dominican stew. I love that. But it's got to have some rice with it too, some rice on the side. That's how we like to eat it. PNW Prepping, how you doing? Blessings to you as well, my friend. Thank you for being here and thank you for the blessing. All right. Okay, we're going to go ahead and bring it down, ladies and gentlemen, because I actually do have something to do in town this afternoon. Hello, Robert Trull from North Carolina. Hello, Kimmy, Anita. Kathleen Ralston made it. How you doing? Thunder, how are you? Yes, happy late Mother's Day to every mom. Indeed. Hello, Linda Carter, negotiators here. Okay, let's bring it on down. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Actually, I think that my next video that's coming out has to do with farmers, and I'll probably release that later on tonight, later on this afternoon. I believe it's already been released to my members, my Patreons, my members. Let's see. Karen, just go to my Amazon storefront. I forget. All right. I don't remember names very well. Go to my Amazon storefront and they are there. All right. And I do recommend those bags. They're very good quality. Very good quality. I've had those for a while now. Let's see. Oh, really? Frenchie Mama says, I did the math. It would cost $135 to get 50 pounds of rice from a survival food company versus the $26 to get the 50-pound bag from Costco. And then, yeah, depending on where you live. I mean, up here, rice is a little more than that. But if you're going to pack away rice, sugar, let's see, wheat berries, beans, those dry goods, oats, I would never recommend that you buy those from a third party because just like you say, Frenchie, it's a lot cheaper to just do it yourself. It doesn't take that much time. For those of you that didn't see the video that I put up, I think it was early this morning on putting away some rice in 5-gallon buckets. I ended up putting away, 200 pounds? I had 300 pounds, but I had to order some more Mylar bags because I ran out. So I put away 200 pounds. It took me like an hour and a half to do everything from getting them out of the bed of the truck to doing everything and actually sealing them and everything. Maybe an hour and a half. And that's because I was also in the process of like trying to record the video that I was recording to put it up. So it doesn't take long, doesn't take a lot of effort, and it doesn't really take a lot of know-how. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, think about it. If I can do it, anybody can do it, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're looking for stuff that you see me use on my channel, like Mylar bags, Food Saver and stuff like that, Food Saver bags, go to my Amazon storefront. I have them there. If I have them there, it's because I actually have them or have used them and recommend them. And I know that both of my Mylar bags that I use are actually in my Amazon storefront. The reason I have two is because the ones that I used to use, which are there, they don't ship them to Alaska anymore. So I had to switch to another brand, one that actually has a Ziploc on the top, but those ended up being good quality also. So I have them both there. And although the price on Mylar bags have gone up, they're not really expensive. I think I ordered a pack of 25 Mylar bags, or what is it? A pack of 10 with the oxygen absorbers. Right. I just ordered more, but I ordered more than a pack of 10. But a pack of 10 with the oxygen absorbers, I think it comes out to like $25 or something like that, which is not bad because it comes with 10 2000 cc oxygen absorbers. Oh, hey, thank you, Howard. Thank you very much, brother. That's awesome, man. That's very generous of you. Thank you for that. Captain Coral gas jumped from 410 to 440 in one day. Yep. Now you all have me curious. Now I'm gonna have to go when I go out in town, go and check. Well, I could probably top off my truck, so I'll probably go top off my truck just to see what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, during our next live stream, I'm going to remember to do this. I'm going to upload a short video that I took. I went down the road yesterday morning. I went down our road, and there was a moose there right on the side of the road, nibbling at the branches of a tree. And I got right next to it with my vehicle, of course, inside my vehicle. And I brought down the window, and I was talking to him for about 2 minutes. But I recorded him for like a minute straight of him looking at me and nibbling. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh, let's see. Okay, I'm trying to bring it down, but also trying to see if I can catch any questions. UK Canner asks, does anyone in the UK know where to get 5-gallon Mylar bags? So if you have an answer to that, by all means. Yes, Joel, I did. I did. I actually did what I said on that video. I said as soon as I was done with that video, I was going to order more bags, and I did that. So they are on their way. They've already been shipped, actually. Okay. Captain Coral just got home from Sam's Club, a 14-ounce freeze-dried coffee, $14.88. Yep. I mean, nothing surprises me anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Like you could come on here and tell me, hey, gas went up to $26 today. And I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, oh, really? Okay, good. You know, it's eventually going to happen. And I'm not even being hyperbolic by saying, $26. I see that day coming one day. I really do. Thank you very much, Lady Samantha. Thank you very much for that. And thank you, Kimmy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You're all too kind. Oh my goodness, look at this. Mike Johnson says gas is $2 a liter, which is just shy of $8 a gallon in Ontario, Canada. I was told to expect $2.50 a liter. Incredible. Let's see what that is exactly. So 1 gallon is 3.785 liters times 2. That's 757. And let's see what it is. 2.5 at 250. $9.46 when it goes up to 250. Incredible. Wow. Jeff Riffle, I don't know if I'm going to be able to plant them. Goodness gracious, we're still expecting a couple of days here within the next week or two to be below freezing. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to give it a try because I always forget their name. I've got my starters or potato seeds. I always forget what to call them, but I have them. They're all ready. I've got them in my bags and they're already shooting up. So, but I mean, we'll see what happens. That's why you have to have food put away, ladies and gentlemen. That way, if you depend on your garden to get you food, you need to have a backup. Snafu Snaps is in the house. How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Look at that. Homestead Oz is in the house as well. Good to see you, Lynn. Say hello to Wayne. I would say so, Sib. And the reason I would say so is because they sell seeds in long-term packaging for that purpose, to store away for long-term. Let me see. Trip to Aldi on Saturday went to $44.81. I buy the same things all the time. Just 3 months ago, the same items were $29.14. That's a 50% increase. You all remember me talking early this year where I said that by the end of this year, we're going to be looking at 50% to 100% increase in the price of foods across the board. So I think we're hitting that mark a little early. Okay. Hello from Pain Came Passion. Good to see you. Welcome to the live as well. All right. So let's go ahead and see if I can share this with you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I've always stated this, and I'm going to state it again, and I stand by this. History teaches us what we can and can't do. History teaches us the consequences of the decisions that were made in the past and what happened, and and what it resulted in, what those decisions resulted in. And I just want to show you, hey, Nuna, how you doing, Nuna? Good to see you. And I was going to say, I just wanted to go over with a short little article. It's not an article, it's like an essay, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read some spots that I think are important, that maybe in some ways correlate to what we're seeing today. Because if we learn a little bit of history, then when we're living our normal lives and we see things happen, we can see that maybe there's a pattern on what's happening now and what's happened in the past, that if we allow that pattern to continue to evolve, may result in the same, bad things happening that happened back then. Right. And today, what I want to talk to you all about is I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but let me bring this back a little bit. It's the Holodomor, all right? And I believe it was in the 1930s that back then it was the Soviet Union, that this person right here, and I think his name is Stalin, that he ended up creating a food shortage crisis that ended the lives of millions of people. And the reason why I said earlier today that this was a man-made event is because it was. But I want to just go ahead and read through a little bit of this so that some of you can say, wow, that kind of sounds a little bit like what we're seeing today, as far as the policies that are being put in place, as far as how things are going and how things may project out into the future. All right. Now, yeah, I know, Steve, but I don't have room in my house to do that. I don't have room in my house to be planting 50 bags of potatoes and then bringing them outside. But anyways, let's go on with this right here. So like I said, let me see. And this here says how Joseph Stalin starved millions in the Ukrainian famine. 3.9 million is what they came up with. Okay. And that's what we want to talk about today for a little bit. And then here, I've got these things highlighted. And I'm just going to read the highlighted areas. But after the live stream is over, sometimes it takes a couple of hours before I can actually edit it. But after it's over, if you want to actually go and check out that article, I'm going to pin it on a pinned comment, okay? That way, not article, but essay, right? It says here, at the height of the 1932 and 1933 Ukrainian famine under Stalin, starving people roamed the countryside, desperate for something and or anything to eat. And then here is a quote. You could see them walking about, just walking, and one would drop and then another. And so it went on, he said many years later. So this is just some testimonials that's coming from people that actually were there to see these things happening. And then it says here, let me see, the famine claimed the lives of 3.9 people, about 13% of the population. And unlike other famines in history caused by blight or drought, this was caused when a dictator wanted both to replace Ukrainians' small farms with state-run collectives and punish independence-minded Ukrainians who posed a threat to his totalitarian authority. Now, I'm not trying to reach for anything, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not trying to reach, but when I read this, I think of all of these small farms in the United States that have been obliterated, either by inflation, all right, by taxation, by big corporations, and mostly by government regulations. And I think, wow, look at that. It just happened that back then, this person here had total control. So his word was law. But what's happening now, in my opinion, is a concerted effort to get rid of the small farms, because the more, uncentralized that something that we really need is, and uncentralized means that there's not just one. So in the United States, we don't just have one huge farm that farms everything that we need to eat. We have a whole bunch of them, about 2.6, 2.9 million farms, big and small. So the more decentralized that something is, the less control that the government can have over it, especially in times of dire crises. But as we've seen over the years, over the decades, that at one time when we had tens of millions of farms, Now we are down to only 2.6, 2.9 million farms. I see an effort to get rid of the farmer, the small farmer. I see an effort where the uncentralized farming community is becoming more centralized and centralized in the powers of big corporations and government. Because in my opinion, big corporations, government, and the Federal Reserve are all one and the same. Okay. So that's what I look at when I'm reading these, essays or articles from history that's occurred, a long time ago. I look at these things and see, how does any of this correlate to what we've been seeing here in the last several years or even several decades that has led us to where we are now? They continue to say here the Ukrainian famine was a clear case of a man-made famine. So for those that say that it can never happen, it's happened before. And history teaches you that it happens again. Because this is not the only time that this has happened. This is not a one-off thing. All right, this 3.9 million people dying of starvation was not something that was a one-time thing and it never happened again. I could sit here and tell you a few others right off the top of my head, and I'm sure that I'd be missing a lot. All right, a man-made famine occurred also under the rule of Mao in China, when he told the people of China that they needed to scrap all of their metal. Whatever metal tools they had, they needed to melt them down, all right, for the state. They ended up melting down everything to include their farming tools. And 30 million or so people in China ended up dying of starvation because of a person's rule, because of the rule of one person over them. Unfortunately, all of those people that vanished, they didn't understand one thing that I think we understand, but are waiting until the time comes to use. And it is that we the people, have the power. All right, we the people have the power, ladies and gentlemen. He describes it as a hybrid of a famine caused by calamitous social economic policies and one aimed at a particular population for repression or punishment. And the reason that I have this highlighted here is because look at what's going on now, not only in the United States, but in several countries. All right, with this carbon thing, with the, I think it's called the Paris Accord or something like that, where they want the world to produce less carbon. But what the average person doesn't know is that we are carbon. Plants eat carbon. The less carbon that there is, probably the less calories that are going to be distributed out to the world in the form of farming. If you all know anyone that has a greenhouse, or anyone that processes food or grows food in greenhouses at a factory size level, they actually pump CO2 into their greenhouses because they get a much bigger yield. So through all of these policies that government passes, little by little, ladies and gentlemen, and you know what? I wish I had pulled this up, but I pulled up a website earlier last week that showed all of the bills that they're working on in Congress to pass this year. And I literally stopped swiping my mouse down because there's so many of them. Just this year alone, dated 2022. So what they do now, ladies and gentlemen, is since they cannot, all right, just tell the people you're going to do this and that's it, because we don't have a king, at least here in the United States. What they do is they do it anyways, but they do it with laws. They do it with policies. They do it with regulations. All right. That's how they're getting us to a point where, in my opinion, there will not be enough calories for everyone in the world and in many countries. I think that in the United States, that there will be enough calories, barely, but at what price? How much of your labor are you going to have to give to get those calories that you need to live? All right, I'm just letting it go forward. Okay, here we go. Let's see. I don't even remember what it is that I highlighted, so I have to do a little pre-reading. All right. Okay, so they say that the Soviet Union, ruled by Stalin in 1929, as part of his plan to rapidly create a totally communistic economy, Stalin had imposed collectivism, which replaced individually owned and operated farms with big state-run collectives. You'll be happy, huh, ladies and gentlemen? You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Collectivism, that's what this reminds me of. All right, where he told everyone in Ukraine, hey, listen, these are all going to be compiled into one centralized entity where the state owns everything and you own nothing. Well, what are they telling us that's going to happen in 2030? They're saying that we want to move towards the goal of where you will own nothing, but you'll be happy, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if that'll actually come to be. But to me, that's what I see when I read this. Collectivism, which was their goal back then, in my opinion, means that you own nothing. It belongs to everyone, but in reality, it doesn't. It only belongs to those that have the biggest guns. And it says here, Ukraine's small, mostly subsistence farmers resisted giving up their land and livelihoods. And those that did resist, like I said, they didn't own the biggest guns. They ended up in gulags. And a lot of them in the gulags ended up starving to death, ended up dying of disease, just never came back. All right, so it says here, in response, the Soviet regime, how do you say, derided the resistors as gulags, right? That's what they were called. Well-to-do peasants who in Soviet ideology were considered enemies of the state. And this is not something that I've really seen happen now, but something that I can see happening down the line. All right, so down the line, 2, 3, I think it'll be after 2025, around 2025 or a little after that, when we're really going to be in dire straits. That's what I think, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people think, oh, no, it's going to be next year. I think we have a little bit of time. I've said it often enough that we still have time to prepare. It's just more expensive. But there will come a time here in the United States and in many other countries, if not most, there will come a time of scarcity, of where there will be not be enough calories. All right. So when that time does come, when the time of scarcity does come, they will start to target people, so that they can keep the people divided. So they may go out there and say, hey, AP has food. He's been hoarding food for the last several years. Go get it from him. And they'll start villainizing people that actually were able to think for themselves instead of having their thinking done by the state. Right. And that's one of the powers that government has, is propaganda, is taking your money through taxation and then using that money to hire people to convince you that taxation is good. All right. Or to convince a certain group of people of one thing and then another certain group of people about another thing, so that you can be fighting with each other instead of becoming a collective among each other as far as ideology goes, and knowing who is the real enemy and saying, hey, we all know that you're the enemy. They don't ever want people to wake up to that. Stalin appears to have been motivated by the goal of transforming the Ukrainian nation into his idea of a modern, proletarian socialist nation, even if this entailed the physical destruction of broad sections of its population. Meaning what? Meaning that government don't care about you. All right. Government has a vision. Right. And as far as they're concerned, they don't care what happens to you as the individual, because they're looking at the collective. They're looking at the whole. But whenever their vision for the whole hurts a group of people, it doesn't matter to them, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I've always said government is not going to take care of you. Do you really think that your name is on a list to go to a bunker if a meteor was coming to hit the earth? Do you think your name is on that list? All they care about is government. They care about keeping their continuity, which means that they care about keeping their power. Look at that. It is snowing really hard right now. Incredible. So when I say that government don't care about you, it's true. Just think about it. Do you have a friend, or are you a person that lost your house in 2008 because of the great financial crisis, GFC, I think they call it? Do you know someone, or are you yourself one? Was government there to bail you out while they were bailing out the banks, ladies and gentlemen? That ought to tell you everything. You are on your own. When the S hits the fan, you will be on your own, with the exception of those relationships that you've made along the way within your own community. Uh-oh. Okay, here, as the famine worsened, many tried to flee in search of places with more food. They killed and ate pets, consumed flowers, leaves, tree bark, and roots. One woman who found some dried beans was so hungry that she ate the beans raw without cooking them and later ended up dying because she ate so many beans that they ruptured her stomach because they expanded in her stomach. And why did I include that in this? Because that's not really something that's teaching us anything. The reason I included this part, ladies and gentlemen, about this lady dying because she was so hungry that she ate so many beans raw that they ended up, messing up her stomach and killing her, is because when you are hungry, no matter how well off you are right now, no matter how great of a life you have right now, when you are starving, there's nothing you wouldn't do to preserve your life or your family's life. So why not prepare? Right, ladies and gentlemen, why not prepare? Just think of that lady, right? And I know that the consequences back there were a lot different than what they are today. Thank God for the Second Amendment, right? Thank God for the Second Amendment. But think of that lady in today's time. Someone who is just living life every day with their normalcy bias glasses on and having a week's worth of food in their home, if that. A lot of people don't even have a week's worth of food, especially people that live in really crowded places because they eat out a lot, right? Think of how easy it is for you to stop eating out for a month and then taking those savings and getting prepared with it. Even if it's just staples, then you wouldn't have to resort to doing things tomorrow that you would never do today in order to get those calories that you need to live. Let's see, it says here that the policies adopted by Stalin and his deputies in response to the famine after it had begun to grip the Ukrainian countryside constitute the most significant evidence that the famine was intentional. I'll come back to that. Policies. Remember, I'm talking about the policies. So we have to look at what is actually happening now. It allows us to see what's coming down the line. Because in all honesty, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think that we have a choice on what laws or what policies they pass, because they can do whatever they want. All right, they can do whatever it is that they want. How many politicians do you know that got elected on one thing and went into office and did the exact opposite of what they said they were going to do? I mean, there's been so many. I stopped counting a long time ago. That's why I don't really care for any politician, no matter what side they're on, until this system has a complete overhaul. And it's going to be destroyed from within. Our system will be destroyed from within, and we will have to start over again someday. But until that happens, and we have a just system of governance instead of the system that we have now, where, in my opinion, our votes do not count, then I'll start caring about that stuff. But right now, I think that the most important thing that the American citizen can do is get prepared, because the time will come when the government will overstep and try to do things like they did back then. Because like I said, Americans, the majority of Americans, I would say, they have it ingrained in their DNA that freedom is everything. And I'm not even American born, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I was born in Dominican Republic. I immigrated here when I was 3. And I have that ingrained in me, that freedom is everything. And it's because of what I learned here in this country. It's because of how I was raised in this country. So just imagine, the rest of Americans that have been here for a really long time, that have had family for generations, serve in the military and give up their lives. Freedom is really ingrained in them, and it should be ingrained in all of us. Humanity wants to be free. We want to be free. And eventually, ladies and gentlemen, we will. Why? Because history does tell me so. Let's see if I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen, on this. But I wanted to show you something really quick, okay? I wanted to show you something really quick that's at the end of this little presentation here. And I want you to think about this. Some people may say, well, that's never going to happen here, AP. We don't do that stuff. I mean, look at what we're doing now. We're sending aid to Ukraine, because we really care about them, right? That will never happen here in the United States. Our leaders would never do that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what. All you know is what you see. You don't really know what happens in the background. And what I want to show you right now is I want to show you a series of pictures. They're not graphic, by the way. All right, they're just pictures. That the United States, and no one can convince me different, the United States, during the time that this was happening in Ukraine, was complicit. They knew exactly what was going on. All right, we here in the United States, I can't say we weren't alive, but those in charge knew exactly what was going on, and they allowed it to happen. Why? Because they had something to gain from it. And that's why it often sickens me when past presidents are made out to look like heroes. Who is that? Sitting with Stalin. Supposed to be the greatest president we ever had, FDR. And whenever you hear about FDR, you hear about, the Great New Deal. He rescued, America from the Great Depression, not knowing that he was part of the reason why we had a Great Depression. Not knowing that he actually stole the American people's gold to bail out the Federal Reserve. But we cheer him. We cheer him as a great president when everything that I told you is true about what he'd done to the American people, but at the same time was complicit with a person that caused the deaths of almost 4 million people. So ask yourselves a question. Do you really think for a second that the government cares about you or cares what happens to you? They care about one thing, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you what. One thing is what they care about. They care about you taking your slave ass to the job so that you can pay your taxes. Because your work, what you make, your labor, that is the only thing, ladies and gentlemen, that backs up the Federal Reserve note. That is the only thing that gives the Federal Reserve note any credibility, is our services and the products that we produce within the United States. People are always saying the dollar is what gives it credit. No, it doesn't. The dollar gives it a reason to be used. But what actually backs up the Federal Reserve note, aka the dollar, what actually backs it up is your labor. You're willing to go out there and work so that they can take your money and call it taxation. That's what really backs it up. Because without your labor, ladies and gentlemen, how in the world could we pay the interest on that debt? Without your labor to get taxed, how in the world could we pay the interest? We couldn't, and the system would be dead. But it is your labor, ladies and gentlemen, that backs up the dollar. So when you think, anyone here that thinks that during bad times or the worst of times, that the government's going to come and save you, you better think again. All right. And if that's your stance, then that's okay. Remember, freedom is everything. You can believe whatever it is that makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. But the day will come when you will realize that you are having a rude awakening. And by the time that happens, for most, it'll probably be too late. So take the time now to prepare, ladies and gentlemen. This is the time to prepare if you haven't started. And if you have started and if you are fully prepped, then make sure that you fill in the gaps as much as you can, as quickly as you can. All right. That way you can make sure that when the balloon pops, you will be ready. And talking about a balloon popping, let's go ahead and take a look at the markets. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down just a little bit, maybe spend 5 or 10 minutes on going back and forth with a couple of questions. But we'll take a look at the market and have a little bit of fun. I'm not a technical genius. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a professional in it at all. I just know enough to get myself in trouble. And that's why I don't trade in the stock market. All right. So let me just take a look and see if there's anyone that I missed, which I'm sure I have. And I do hope that you got something out of this. And like I said, I will leave the link to this essay up on a pinned comment on this video, on this live stream. If not later on today, then for tomorrow morning. Okay, if you want to come back and grab that article. But just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't want to wait for that, all you have to do is this. All you have to do is just go onto Google or DuckDuckGo and type in how Joseph Stalin starved millions in the Ukraine famine. And this article should pop up. It works pretty good if you do that. Okay. All right. So let's see who else is in the house. Let me go back just a little bit. Let me see. How you doing, Drops? Yeah, what FDR did is it's a heck of a shame that it's not taught. You know, ladies and gentlemen, it's a heck of a shame. I mean, also, study Lincoln. Lincoln didn't do all the great things, that people say he did. He did a lot of really bad things. There's just so much that we're not taught. There's so much history that is erased. And what I mean by erased is taken out of the public's view. It's taken out of books in schools. And these are the things that I like to find so I can really look into what was really actually happening. Look up presidents before George Washington. And they don't teach this in schools. We actually have presidents in the United States before George Washington. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not. It only lasted for a few years, and I think that the terms were only like 6 months long or something like that. But look it up. It's very interesting. I think we had like 12 or 13 of them. But yeah, look it up. I actually looked that up a while back and a few years back, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, I hear you, B. Walker. And I was actually watching, I forget the video, but I was actually watching a video on YouTube of some people that lived in Morocco. I think it was in Morocco in Africa, but the country of Morocco. And they were talking to an American. They were streaming from here in the United States. And he was like, oh, that's cool. You live in Morocco. He's like, no, it's cool that you live in the United States. And he's like, well, what do you like about the United States? Have you ever been here? He's like, we've never been there, but we've always wanted to have the freedoms here in Morocco that you have in the United States, but our government won't let us. And even with the way things are now, people still see the United States as the beacon of freedom. Even with the way that things are now. Incredible. Well, sweet savory words. I wasn't trying to be doomy and gloomy with the presentation I just did. I just want to give people a chance to understand that the things that some say that can happen in the future is because they've already happened in the past, and we can correlate the events that are happening now with events that happened back then before those things happened. But let me see. I'm going to give you some good news in a minute here with the markets, all right? But it's only going to be good news to those of you that know that this market is fake and know that the market will eventually end and are positioning yourselves in a way for the outcome of what is inevitable, ladies and gentlemen, all right? Yep. I can see that a lot of you have the same feelings about FDR. That's right. Taxation is theft, and inflation is as well. And inflation, in reality, is just a form of taxation that is kept out of your eye, that is kept out of view. Right. So when people think about inflation, they never correlate it with taxation, but it's exactly what it is. It is a direct tax on your purchasing power. It's exactly what it is. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring this up really quick. Give me a second because this is really important. And I hope that a lot of people watch this. I have to show you this real quick. Where is it? Right here. Boom. Yes. Okay. Let me go back here. I have to share something with you. Okay. Let's go ahead and share it. I'm glad that I remembered this because this is important. Okay, so do you see this on here? Ladies and gentlemen, you will never find me. You will never find me on the comments on any of my videos trying to give you a phone number, trying to sell you something, trying to tell you to buy cryptos from me, trying to tell you to go buy this over here, I will never, ever do that, ever. Okay? If you ever see something from me on a comment, more than likely it'll be on a pinned comment. All right? And if I reply to you with a question or something, and my name will always have a check mark next to it. All right. But even if you see my name, okay, with a check mark next to it, telling you, hey, give me a call at this number. I've got a great deal for you. Don't call the number because you will get ripped off. You will get hacked or something. All right. But please do not. I've been seeing a lot more of these. And thank you for the person that sent me this screenshot, because one of our community members sent me the screenshot showing me that she was being solicited in the chats. So please, I'm pretty sure that many of you already know this, but if you don't, I will never, ever try to sell you anything, ever, especially in the comments, and especially giving you a phone number to text me at. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so please don't fall for this stuff. You will get ripped off. The worse that the economy gets, the more schemes that are going to come out. And I would really, really hate to think or to find out that one of our community members got ripped off one of these fake, I guess you can call him an impersonator, right? So please don't get ripped off. Let's see, Sandra Templeton. How you doing, Sandra? Uncle Charlie is here. Product of Change. How you doing? Jennifer Cruz made it. Penny Plum and Big Wolf 45 is here as well. Good to see you all. Sandra says, I chopped at Walmart a day ago. Almost a fourth of prices at register were higher than on the shelves. Really? Wow. I went to service and they said I can get shelf price on one of each item. Oh, so you can get the shelf price on one of each of the items. Wow, incredible. S&P is down 3.27%. Holy camoli. Oh my goodness. Well, we're going to look at that here in a minute. I'm really like interested now because I haven't looked at it since when I was in the house having coffee with my wife. I showed her, I was like, oh my goodness, look at this. Hey, we have a newbie. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Lil Kimmy is a newbie. So welcome, Lil Kimmy. Thank you for joining in. Lil Kimmy asks, where do I get accurate history from? I just look it up, Lil Kimmy. I look it up in places that's not mainstream. Like I definitely wouldn't go to MSNBC to try to look up history. All right. So, I is for example, I try to look it up in things that are not currently being used. Like if you go to the old dictionary, I actually have one up there. I should look it up one of these days and show it to you. But if you go to one of the older dictionaries, like Britannica Dictionary, that's, I don't know, maybe 25, 30 years old. Because mine is, how old is mine now? Mine is about 27 years old, the one that I have. I used to when I started going to college. But anyways, if you look up what the definition of inflation is, it has the correct definition of inflation, which is the expansion of the monetary supply. All right, the expansion of the monetary supply, which puts out more dollars into the system, making it more expensive for things because the more of something there's in the system, the less it's worth, something like that, right? But it had the accurate definition of inflation. If you look at it today, it's not the same definition. And the reason it's not the same definition is because the original one, the correct one, puts the blame on the government. Because the correct one says that inflation is the expansion of the monetary supply, right? So what is the entity that can inflate the monetary supply? The Federal Reserve / the government, right? So through that definition, the way it's stated there, people can make a direct correlation that inflation is due to the, government and the Federal Reserve. But now when they change it, where they say that inflation is when the price of goods go up, all right, which the price of goods going up is a symptom of inflation. But now when they change it, the price of goods going up, there's really no direct correlation between the price of goods going up and the federal government or the Federal Reserve. You see, so they change things like this. So I try to go to things that are a little bit older. And again, thank you very much for joining us. Very nice to have you. Okay, all right. You guys are getting me excited over the Dow, so I have to get to it quickly here. I'm going to try to bring it down. Uh, Mama How Doll, thank you. Thank you very much. B Walker, I really don't know that when you report them that it does anything, because I've reported a bunch of them. I try to cancel them, like block them from ever being able to post on the channel again. But it's like a robot. They just multiply and then they just do it again. So I'm not sure exactly what YouTube does with it. I do block a whole bunch of them. I know my moderators, I know Yarn Prepper and Copernicus have emailed me before that they spend 45 minutes just blocking them and deleting them. But I'm not sure that works that well. I think that the best thing to do is to make sure that you, all right, the consumer of the videos, is informed and don't fall for it. I don't fall for any of these things. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I would hate to hear that somebody here got ripped off. All right, let's see. Hey, Caribbean House made it. How you doing, Caribbean House? Good to see you. How you doing, Moon Peach? Good to see you as well. Sunset Gazing. Okay. Oh, Miles. Thank you very much. Used 1.5 ounces of silver to buy a fruit tree. Really awesome. If I get a good harvest in the future, my ROI will be great. My return on investment. I can also help others without using preps. Awesome. That's actually a really good deal. Yes, indeed, Matthew. I will never approach you in the comments section. I know I've said it already 10 times, but I don't mind saying it another 10 times, because I will never approach you and I will never ask you for anything or give you a phone number, especially in the comments section. So please don't fall for the scams. Thank you, Penny. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that, B Walker. It's really nice. It's really nice having a dictionary that's 25, 30 years old. Trust me. And you know what, ladies? Let me go ahead and cover that real quick. I promise after this, we'll get to the charts, all right? Let me cover it. I've said oftentimes about preservation of wealth, right? I've talked about preserving wealth and I've talked about preserving humanity. And for example, let's just say preserving wealth, right? I've always said that it's important to preserve wealth, right? I know you can't eat silver, but once we get to the other side of whatever crisis it is, you want to be able to start over. We want to be able to have people that are good people, that are in good positions, not just with food, but with actual wealth that can actually lead, all right? Or that can help someone that is a natural leader that really cares about their people, right? Because what if we get through this crisis? Let's say all the preppers are great people, and we all get through the crisis, and then on the other side, they come up with a new monetary system and we're all broke. We have nothing. Who's going to be left with all of the real wealth? Are those the people that you want to run the country? So I think it's important to have some wealth preservation. That way, when we do make it to the other side, we can have people with morals that will be able to lead, and take care and represent their countrymen instead of forsaking them like we've been done to for so long. How you doing, Thomas? Good to see you. Let's see here. Okay, all right. I'm bringing it down. All right. Now let's take a look at the market. I haven't looked at them for the last couple of hours, so let's see what's up. Let me go ahead and take this off of here. Stop. Share. I don't do this very often, but let's take a look. Yes. Brave. This one right here. Okay. Two. Let's take a look. All right. So let me go ahead and remove this here. All right. I'm removing this. Okay. So what are we looking at right now? We are looking at gold right now. So let's not even look at gold right now, but let's take a look at the Dow and see where it's at. Let me make sure that you all can see this well. All right, you can. Let me take my face off of here. Hey, I can't hear anything. Can you hear me now? Go ahead and say yes if you can hear me now. Oh my goodness. Let me know if you can hear me now. Man, I am such a dork. Incredible. So I'm assuming that went on for pretty much the whole thing. Okay, well, you know what? If you want to if you want to hang out, yes, you can hear me. I'll just talk about this here from here real quick. We'll just go over the Dow, ladies and gentlemen, and the S&P, and that's it. Incredible. I am such a doofus. Let's see. Where is this at? Okay, so did we go over the Dow already? No, we didn't. Avery, I don't know who watched the video that I put out on Sunday, but you see what I mean? Oh, that's funny. All right, so let's just go back to the Dow real quick. Let's go back to Dow. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Dow Jones, and right now it's 653. Can you hear me still? Okay, you can still hear me. Oh, goodness. So this is the Dow Jones right now. And like I said before, to a brick wall, that it's at negative 653. And I really don't worry about this too much because, ladies and gentlemen, eventually this is all going to crash. There's nothing that anyone can do. All right. Even the Federal Reserve has its limitations. All right. And as I was explaining to you all on a video that I put out a while back, this is what's called a head and shoulders pattern. And it's one of the most bearish patterns that there is in technical analysis. And whenever you have a left shoulder right here, that's a high. And then you have a head. This is considered the head, which is the highest part. And then you have a right shoulder, which is lower than the highest part. Then, especially if this right shoulder is lower than this left shoulder, it means that you're going into a real bearish scenario. So the head and shoulders pattern is one of the strongest patterns that indicates that you're going from a bullish to bearish scenario in the market. And as you can see, it's playing out just the way it's supposed to be. And one of the things that you want to take a look at also, once you see this pattern playing out, is take a look at all of your next highs. So here we had a high and we had a lower high. And then our next high was lower than the last high. Same thing here. This one not by much, but you can see that it was. This is where it closed, just slightly lower than the last one where it closed. Same thing here. So now what I think will happen, because I don't know, I'm not a professional at this, but what I think would happen is that after so many days that we are in the negative, we'll probably have one pop up, and then it'll continue to go down. And then if you take a look at the MACD and the RSI, this here is it's called the RSI. I forgot what RSI stands for, but this here shows that we're still on a downward trend. See, downward. And even these are on a downward trend. But the one that I look at the most, I look at the RSI more to see if we are oversold or overbought. So like, for example, once the RSI gets like below this mark right here, we're getting into oversold territory, right? Which means that we're just going to have a bounce back up. But if you take a look at the MACD right here, this right here tells me that we are still headed straight down, that there's really no relief in the way. There's really no relief in the way. This little blue line here, whenever it's under the red, it tells me that we are still, headed down. So the Dow doesn't look very good. And the one that really doesn't look good to me is the S&P. Because the S&P is going to end up closing the day at under 4,100, right? And that was like a really big indicator. I think it was like 4,150 or something like that. That was a pretty big indicator or a level of resistance. And it blew right past that. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we've all known for a long time that this is fake. The people that I feel sorry for the most, are people that don't really have a choice on if their pensions can be played in the stock market, because there's a lot of pension money in the stock market. There's a lot of pension money in bonds. And it seems that once the bonds go, the stock market is going to go right with it. So people are going to lose everything, right? If your wealth is measured in paper or electrons, meaning that it's on a screen somewhere, then in my opinion, your wealth is at great risk. And some people say, well, it'll come back. We just have to stick with it. It'll come back. That, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, it's history. It probably will. But let me show you something. Let me see if I can work this with you all here. Somebody give me a 1 if I'm still coming in okay. All right. Somebody give me a 1 if I'm still coming in all right. I'm going to wait for somebody to give me a 1 if I'm still coming in okay. Okay, good. I'm going to ask that every few minutes just to make sure, okay? But like I was saying, for people that may say, well, we just have to stick with it. We just have to, just keep our stuff there. Don't panic. It'll come back. Let me show you something really quick. Let's go over here on the monthly. Let's shrink this down, son. Okay, and let's go. Oh, no, not monthly. Let's see. Yes, okay. Not the S&P. We want to look at the Dow. Okay, so here's our monthly. All right, let's keep going. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Okay, here we go. This is where we want to be. All right, let's bring this up. And by any chance, but for anyone who's wondering, people always ask me, this is called TradingView. For those of you that want to go take a look at this, and this is a free service. I have a paid service to this that allows me to do a few other things that's not free, but they do offer a free service. I'm not affiliated with them. I love this program. I think it's very user-friendly. But look at this. I've actually already done this before. So for those that think that they just need to hold on, that they'll be all right, just hold on, just hold on for dear life, okay? It'll be okay. Just wait until the market rebounds. Take a look at this. This is 1929. Yeah, 1929, the big crash, right? What started the Great Depression, the great crash of 1929, all right? And this here is 1954. So we're looking at 1929, actually 1955. So we're looking at 1929. It took 26 years for the market to get back up to the level that it was before it started plunging in 1929. So if you have 26 years to wait, if you're 50, 55, 60, 65, getting ready to retire, and you have $1 million or $2 million in the stock market, and the stock market crashes, if you're willing to wait 26 years for it to come back up to where it was before, then by all means, it's your money. You earned it. You should be able to do what you want with it. But I've often stated, ladies and gentlemen, that the consequences of the decisions that we make, it is we that have to live with them. So you'll have to live with those decisions. I'm not saying get in the stock market. I'm not saying get out of the stock market. But what I'm saying is that what I do is what I would do is if I had money in the stock market that I'm relying on for when I retire, I would try to hedge those investments with some gold and silver. That's what I would do. I would never tell you what to do. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So take a look at how long that is. That's an entire generation. All right, an entire generation. All right, so now let's take a look at let's bring this back to the daily. And let's bring it, yeah, we're back here, okay? Look at this. This is incredible. So you all want to take a look at gold real quick? We'll take a quick look at gold. Let's see where we're at. Okay, here's gold. And I want to show you something with gold, why I'm so excited about gold and why I welcome these drops. If you can still hear me, just give me a number 1 real quick. I'm going to wait. If not, I'm just going to say that's enough. Let me get a number 1 if you can still hear me, ladies and gentlemen. What time is it? Okay, we have a couple of minutes and then we'll have to start calling it. Oh, excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's take a quick look at gold, and then I want to show you the big picture, all right? Because the big picture is where it's at with gold. Obviously, gold is so very manipulated. I want to go back to that question. And the question is, The question is, hey, can you tell me why the cost of silver is going down while the market is declining? Absolutely. Thank you for that question. It's a great question. Okay. So let me tell you why here in a minute. Let me just bring this back up. Make sure we can still get. Okay, so obviously this is gold, but I'm going to answer that question first. The reason is because as the Dow and the S&P, as the regular markets are plummeting, as they've been doing for a while now, what happens is that a lot of traders, when they purchase stocks, they don't purchase it with 100% of their money. They're usually leveraged. And leveraged means that, for example, just like they did back in the Great Depression, where they only had to put up like 20% of whatever amount of stocks they wanted to buy. So let's say, for example, and we're going to use very simple numbers to make sure that everyone gets it. Let's say, for example, I'm a trader and I want to buy $100 worth of stock on leverage. And I say, okay, yeah, I'm going to put 20% down. And then I get an $80 loan from whoever, right? Somebody loans me $80 to get the rest of the 100% of the stocks that I want. So if I wanted to get 10 stocks or 10 shares of a stock at $10 each, I put in $20 and then I borrow $80. All right. So I'm buying stocks on leverage or shares on leverage. Right. I have, and then let's say that the shares come down to an amount that is where they are worth less than what I put into it. So then let's say that this share that I bought of whatever stock I bought came down to where now the value of it is less than the 20% that I put into it. So it's valued at like 25% less. I have to come up with money. I have to come up with money to pay the lender the difference. All right, to pay them the difference for what it's now worth and what it was worth when I purchased it with the leverage funds, with the funds that I borrow. So what is the most liquid commodity in the world? The most liquid commodity in the world, it shouldn't be a commodity, but it's gold, right? It's the most liquid one. It's like if you take gold anywhere, it'll be exchanged for fiat. No matter what country you're in, it'll get exchanged. So these traders that need liquidity, that need money now, right now, they always know that they can turn to gold and get cash so that they can pay off whatever debt they have on that leverage trade that they leveraged. All right. And usually whenever gold plummets, so does silver. Okay. In addition to that, we all know that gold and silver are very highly manipulated. All right. Very highly manipulated because the gold and silver market run the opposite way that they're supposed to run, because that's the way they wanted the system to run in order to discourage people from owning physical gold and silver. And what do I mean by that? For those of you that don't understand what a derivative is just the value of something, but on paper, right? So let's say, for example, that I'm a large corporation and I want to buy wheat from a farmer. Okay, I want to buy wheat from a farmer, and I make him a contract. I make him an offer. I say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and pay you $5 per bushel for wheat, and we're going to go ahead and sign that contract now. And it doesn't matter if wheat is $20 a bushel when you harvest it, or if it's $1 a bushel. I'm going to pay you $5 a bushel. Well, that contract that they did is like a derivative. That contract is based on the price of wheat. Okay, which is fine. But the way that they do gold, instead of basing a contract or a paper product on the price of the physical item, right? The price of the actual physical item, what they do is they base the price of the physical item on how many ounces of paper there are in the market, which is the opposite. So how does this lead to manipulation? Well, you have governments, you have millionaires, you have billionaires who like to play the market, who want to manipulate it. They go out and buy or sell 1 billion ounces worth of silver in one day, even though the 1 billion ounces doesn't exist. JP Morgan, I have to say for legal purposes, but I think that JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs love doing that. So whenever you see silver just shoot straight down, usually you can trace it back that within 24 hours from when it shot straight down, one of these big banks dumped 1 billion ounces of silver in the market. The only thing is that it wasn't really silver. It was just paper that represent silver. So by selling 1 billion ounces of paper silver into the market or dumping it into the market, it makes the market think that there's a whole bunch of silver in the market, but when in reality, there's really none. In reality, every 1,000 ounces of paper silver maybe represents 1 or 2 ounces of real physical. All right, so that is what happens. That is why the price of silver and gold go down, and that is how it's manipulated to the downside or the upside. But the thing is this, ladies and gentlemen, what you have to remember is that nature will only let man manipulate it until it no longer lets man manipulate it. And the price of things is nature, because the price of things, if done correctly, is set by nature, is set by you and me, which are part of nature. Like when you take a look at all of these lines going up and down, that is part of nature. This right here represents the actions that human beings take in a market. And many people will say, well, a lot of the market, 90% of it, is run by algorithms. Yes, but who programmed the computers to run those algorithms? Human beings do. So what you're looking at right here, this is part of nature. And eventually, nature will no longer allow you to manipulate it. It will eventually go back to its means. It's happened before, and it's going to happen again. All right. Let's take a quick look at gold. All right. And see how gold is doing. And take a look at this right here. What I'm looking for right here, remember, I'm not a professional. What I'm looking for is, now this right here is kind of like a bad sign because you have a double top right here, okay? And then you have a lower high, and then you have another lower high, and it goes down. But what I'm looking for is, I'm looking to see if gold will go beneath the 200-day moving average. This is the 200-day moving average right here. And if it doesn't go beneath the 200-day moving average, then I think we're going to be all right. What I think is going to happen is this. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, please don't take my word for anything. This is just me having fun with you, telling you what I think. What I think is going to happen is this, and this is why I think it's going to happen. I think that gold will probably, give the 200-day moving average a little kiss. It'll probably bounce off of it 1 or 2 times or 3, and then it's going to start going straight up. And let me tell you why. Let me show you why. I have to go back a little bit in order to show you why. Okay. Oh, this is not even close. Let me see if I can bring this. Oh, it doesn't go back that far. Let's go ahead and bring it to the weekly. Okay, here we go. All right. Man, I'll tell you what. Bear with me, all right, ladies and gentlemen, because this is going to be pretty cool. All right, here it is. Here it is. Beautiful. Here, check this out, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I think that gold is going to bounce off that 200 and then take it back. All right, so remember when we were talking about that, the head and shoulders formation is one of the most bearish indicators of a market going bearish, meaning doing bad. So a cup and handle formation is one of the most bullish technical analysis, formations that there is, meaning that you're going to go to a bullish, that you're going to go high, right? And if you take a look at this, this is a decadal or more than a decades long cup and handle formation, right? So if you look up here, this was back in September of 2011, back when gold hit like $1,800 or $1,900 and something dollars. It went all the way up to 1,900 and change, right? And then it started going down. And the reason that this is called a cup and handle is because take a look. It looks like a cup with a handle, all right? And this is one of the most bullish formations that there is. So the reason that I say that I think that gold is going to probably bounce off that 200-day moving average and then it's going to go up is because this right here, ladies and gentlemen, this formation has been playing out for more than 10 years. And it is a beautiful example of a cup and handle formation. Here's the cup, here's the handle. And then as you can see, the handle is the mini cup. All right, it's a mini cup. But here's a perfect handle. And there's going to be some volatility, maybe going sideways, and then I think it's just going to zoom up. I mean, by the end of the year, if you were to ask me, I would say at least 2,500, but I could be 100% wrong. And that's really not that much when you compare percentage wise. It should be a lot higher than that, but eventually it'll find its place. But one thing that I would say, I'm going to get off of this now. Okay, let's see where silver is at. Silver is also getting slammed, but silver is the same thing. You see, silver is pretty much the same thing. Look at this cup and handle on silver. Look at that. It's a perfect cup and handle. It's actually better than gold. All right. So that's, I mean, no, wait a minute. That's a really long cup and handle. No, silver's not even done with this cup and handle. I mean, silver's just getting started, but silver's always behind gold. So you see this with silver? Silver is still working on that cup and handle formation, but it's usually behind gold. So that's where silver is at, but silver doesn't look like it's going to get any relief anytime soon. We got straight down on the MACD, straight down on the RSI, and the 200-day is right there. So same thing with silver. I'm going to get off of this right now then. Okay, but ladies and gentlemen, one thing that I would say about silver and gold is this, is that you don't want to, let me get off this. I don't want to, and I don't, and I'm not recommending or not recommending anything, but I don't get silver and gold in order to invest. I get it as insurance, and that's it. It's insurance is a way to preserve my purchasing power and is a way to insure myself against governments, because whenever governments fail, their currencies fail, right? It's just my way to ensure whatever excess wealth I have from being confiscated through the force of inflation. That's really all it is. That's how I treat it. And my hopes with gold and silver is never that I become a millionaire. Never, because that means that really bad things are happening. My hopes with whatever little gold and silver I have is to make sure that my children can get it once I pass on. So if I never have to use whatever gold and silver I have, if I never have to use it, I'm happy, because it means that the currency that we have is still good enough to buy whatever we need and sustain our standard of living. So if I never have to use it, I'm good with that. Okay. So my hopes is that I can live out the rest of my life and be able to just pass that on to my kids, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to end up needing our preps. We're going to end up needing our gold and silver for anyone that maybe has some gold and silver put away for insurance. Let's see. Wow. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, you guys are awesome. You know why? Because I come on here, I make a fool out of myself and talk to myself for, 15, 20 minutes, and you're still here hanging out. That is awesome. Thank you very much for being here, by the way. I hope that some of you got something out of this, and I hope that I didn't stray anyone the wrong way. I'm not the best at explaining stuff, so I hope that it kind of like made sense to you. And like I said, that's just a hobby of mine. It is absolutely nothing that I would act on if I were someone watching me. Like what I just said, it's just a hobby of mine, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure that you do your own homework, do your own research, and don't take anything that I just said for truth, right? For what it really is, all right? Because I could be wrong. Okay, I could be wrong. The things that I've done in my life when it comes to I have had a few little investments here and there now and then, and I've done really well, 99% of the time. But I've never taken a risk where if I lost whatever I invested, I wouldn't be okay. Okay, so just make sure that you're careful with the things that you do. And I think that the best thing to do is to invest in what, ladies and gentlemen? Invest in a well-stocked pantry. All right. So I'm going to leave it at that. Billy Bob, you say you're about to call me. Let me see. Yeah, my phone is right there. Yeah, give me a call here in a few minutes if you want. I got to head into town actually after I get done here. But yeah, I'll have my phone here right after I'm done with the live stream. If you want to give me a call, give me a call. But let me take about the next 5 or 10 minutes just to maybe say hello to a couple more of you, and then I'll take a couple of questions, ladies and gentlemen, because I actually ran a little bit over. Because I had to be talking to the wall there for a little bit. All right. Hey, how you doing, Mario? Hey, that's a great point, Doc. Doc Holiday. I love that name. Buttercup. Okay, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. That's right. And that's 100% right. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. Even if it's this, do I even have any of these left? I think I have. And anyway, even if it's like a dollar bill, you know, if you have money in the bank, it's not yours until you actually take it out. And really, I would say it's not even yours. Let me get a darn. Do I have a? I want to show you this real quick because I want you to understand this. This, ladies and gentlemen, even me holding this in my hand, this is not even my property. This is not my property. So until I take this, all right, until I take this and I trade it in for something like this, this isn't even mine. Where does this say it? Let me see. I'm sorry, I'm trying to look at this. Look for this. Give me a second. I usually don't do this, but let me take a look. I forgot where it says it, but somewhere around here it says property of Federal Reserve. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't even yours. Until you actually take this and you trade it for something real that has real value, then it's yours. But this isn't even yours, ladies and gentlemen. This is not even your property. But I would rather have this in my hands than to have it in the bank. It kills me having money in the bank. I have to leave some money in the bank because guess what? I'm just like everyone else. I have to pay taxes. And my taxes come right out of my bank account, which is fine. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Life Prepared is in the house. How you doing, Life Prepared? Good to see you. Sariya Israel, how are you? Good to see you. Taterto's grandma, how you doing? Jose Gutierrez, how you doing, brother? Let me see. Okay, let's go ahead and bring it down. We're almost calling it good for today. Okay, we are. We're calling it good. And let me say this right here while I still have about 600 of you on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not watched the review that I did of that water filtration system, go watch that. And the reason I'm saying that is this. It's because I think that is a very, very good water filtration system and at a very good price. I mean, I am very impressed with it. I'm so impressed about it that I want to tell you about it again. Just watch that video and check it out because everything that I showed on that video, it was not edited. It was not changed in any way. I could not believe my eyes when I saw that water filtration system cleaned my reverse osmosis water even better. I was like, wow. And for the price, it's not a bad price at all. And the reason that I bring it up is because for those of you that are on a budget, that I'm not affiliated with this company, by the way. Okay. Some people always say, oh, you're trying to sell that. I'm not trying to sell nothing. I'm trying to tell you about a product that I think is awesome. All right. For people that are on a budget that maybe cannot afford to get a Berkey or even to get the Berkey water filters, you know, to build their own, that system is like $30. I think it's on sale right now, like $29, and it comes with a filter. Each filter is only good, I would say, for up to about 100 gallons, depending on how dirty the water is that you put in it. Okay. But the filters are only like $10 a piece, $10 or $11 a piece. So if I were on a budget and I had $100 and I didn't have a water filtration system, that's definitely what I would get. I would get one of those, the picture one, which is the less expensive of the two, but I think the bigger one's on sale now. I would get one of those with like 8 or 9 filters, whatever I could afford. And you would have $100 into that system that would give you, I would say, probably close to 1,000 gallons of clean water. Like that water comes out zero particulates, which is awesome. All right, so go check that out. If you're on a budget and you're looking for something to filter your water, that's going to be good for you in case something happens. All right, because that's one of the most important things you can do is make sure that you have something that's going to filter water. All right. You can have all the water you need in the world, right? You can have all the water put up on a corner, but eventually it's going to run out. All right. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you very much for joining in. Thank you for hanging out with me today. It was a lot of fun. All right. I made a fool out of myself, which is easy for me. All right. But I want to thank you for sticking in there, right? For hanging in there. I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you all for joining in. And thank you to those of you that are new. All right. If you're new to the community, meaning if you subscribe within the last week or 2 weeks, and or if this is your first live stream, go ahead and say I am new in all caps. And during our outro, I'll go ahead and shout you out through the chats, all right, through the screen, so that everyone can see your name. Other than that, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, again for joining in. Always have a great time hanging out with all of you, all right? So other than that, remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper, and I'm out. Bless you guys. We'll see you on Friday, okay?